Hi everyone, and welcome to your Autumn Goodness class tutorial, video tutorial. That sounds better. Okay, first of all, I want you to know with this class, you should have received one blend or blender pen, and you should have received watercolor pencils. You should have received a pack of twine or linen thread. And then all the pieces to put this card together. And you want to just pull that out of your envelope gently so that all your pieces stay together where they're supposed to be. Okay? For this first card, we need to score it at 2 3/4. Yours hopefully is already scored, and 5 1/2. Okay. And we're just gonna fold it like a zigzag. And we're gonna burnish our edges with our bone folder so they just stay nice and flat. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is just take our layers and layer them down. So you have a layer for the front. I believe it's just slightly bigger than the layer for the inside. And we're going to adhere this down. To our first layer. Then we're going to take this whole thing and just lay it down. Okay, just like that. Then you have a piece that's going to go on the inside. And this is just a little smaller, but it gives you extra space to write your sentiments to whomever you're sending your card to. Then we have our inside piece. So your white is actually going to go down first. And again, it's just 1/8 of an inch, so it's just barely covering. And then when this seal sticks, it really has a seal to it. Okay. Just trying to wiggle it into place there. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to lay down our black and white check, or gingham, or plaid. Plaid, I think is what it is. And there, that's just perfect. All right, next we're gonna take our nested labels dies, and we're going to stamp our sentiments on it. I always feel to see which side I want facing out and which side I want facing back. Your decision. The sentiment we're going to use out of this stamp set is thankful. Now remember, if you have another stamp set that you want to use, that is your choice, and I'm sure the cards will look just as beautiful as these cards. Okay, then we're going to take our top piece And we're going to add our sentiment that says, golden leaves, chilly air, autumn beauty everywhere. We're going to just stamp that down. And when I use photopolymer, I just like to hold it down there for just a minute. That's a little crooked, so I'm going to use the other side and see if I can't get that a little straighter. Yeah, better. Okay, now, for me doing this video and showing you what I want you to do, I already pre-stamped and cut my images. I cannot send you guys stamped images per Stampin' Up, okay? That is their rules. So, I'm going to take the Crushed Curry watercolor pencil, and I'm just going to go over some of these areas with it. Not heavily, unless you want to. Sometimes just swiping it along is all you need to do. Just coloring it in a little bit because we're going to take our blender pen now, if I can find where I put it. And this is actually going to blend that watercolor down, and it's going to smooth the color out and take it a little further than where you have it. And it just moves it around, and it's so pretty when it does this. So I don't know if you guys have ever used these before. They're very easy to use. But I love using these with our watercolor pencils because it saves you time. With coloring it, it just moves it around so you don't have to do it later with constantly going over it with your pencil. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, well, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take and put our sentiment where we want it on top, okay? And we're only gluing half of it. Okay, you don't want to glue the whole thing because then it will seal it shut. Let me tell you, this seal is amazing, just amazing. Okay, so we're going to glue that down. All right. Now, when we open it up, we're going to take and we're going to put adhesive on this one. We're going to close it, and we're going to see where we want that lined up. Okay, and we're going to make sure it's pretty much even. And mine stuck out just a little bit, so I'm going to try to lift it and pull it back just a little bit. And I can sometimes wiggle it back. Okay. But you want that to be underneath your top piece. Okay? Just like that. So when you open it up, it's like peekaboo. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is take your twine and you're going to make a double bow. And how you do that is you just double it over. Now I do rabbit ears. You guys can do the other way, whichever way is easiest for you to do a bow. And then I just fix it till I'm happy with my bow. Okay, and then all you have to do is cut it off, and it's a double bow. All right, so we're gonna take a glue dot. There they are. And we're going to put the glue dot right in the middle of that corn husk. I think that's what it's called. And we're going to take dimensionals and put that on the front of our card. So just know any image would look good. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same stamp set. Whatever you have at home will look absolutely gorgeous. For our next card, I did not emboss all the way to the edge, okay? Because you're going to cover that up. So we're going to take our first layer and adhere that down. See, every time I snap that seal, that's when I have trouble starting it. Oh, see, I shouldn't have snapped it. If you just run it along gently and just kind of lift it off, I'll have no trouble with it when I want to do the next run. Okay. So we're just, again, this is an 1/8 of an inch. You're going to lay it down. So you just have an 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Then we're going to take this piece of pattern paper and we're going to add this over the top. And then, like I said, you don't need to have that embossed all the way. Okay, it's better if I go like this so I can see both ends. Okay. All right. And then you can take and just go ahead and, oh, I snapped it off again. I've got to learn not to do that. And then we're going to adhere this to our card base. Okay, and again, just 1/8 of an inch all the way around. So the next thing we're gonna do for the sake of time is I already stamped our bunch. And I know on the card, this is a stamped image, but the set also comes with this image that's already embossed, if I can pick it up. And so I thought I would send that out to you instead. And that way, you don't have to worry about having that stamped image. Again, Stampin' Up! Won't allow me to send you stamped images, so I'm trying to make these kits easy so that all you have to do is put them together and not worry too much about what you're doing. Okay, so on this wagon wheel, you're seeing me stretch my arms. I'm trying to grab a glue dot for the front and the back, okay? I'm just going to take and glue that to that spindle. And then I'm going to add that to the front of my card. I'm going to take this little piece and I'm gonna stamp thankful again. This one says thankful for you. I know what I did. I did 2 of them together. Okay. Sometimes I forget. So I'm putting the thankful down. Okay. And then here's the for you. Now, for you is on here really crooked, so let's see if I can get it really straight. Wonderful. That's really good. I'm impressed. It was really crooked on the block, so I didn't think it would go anywhere. Okay. I'm going to take glue dots for this piece. And I'm just going to adhere it down and up under the wagon. You guys can do whatever you like. It's your card. For this piece, I did the same thing. Okay. I took cherry cobbler for some of the roses. I just wanted a darker rose. Okay. And I'm not really going anywhere specific. I'm just scribbling a little color on, nothing perfect. Because again, I'm gonna go in with my blender pen And how you clean your blender pen once you're done is you just wipe it on your grid paper or scratch paper. And that way when it comes clean and you don't see any more color, you can go back in and hit your next color. I'm sorry if I was off camera there for a minute. I think I'm on camera now. I'm going to go back in now with a little bit of green and just do some of my flowers. Feather. Leaves. Man, I have feathers, flowers, things like that on the brain, huh? That's so funny. Oh, I see another rose I missed, but that's okay. And so, like I said, I'm just putting like a little line on them because I'm not doing any shading or anything specific. I just want to have this have a little bit of pop, a little bit of color. You just want to go over wherever you put the color. It just smooths it out and gives it a beautiful look. Okay. All right. Let me get that last rose I missed. And there you have it. Now I'm going to go and get dimensionals to put on the back so it matches the wagon. And you're just going to stick that up above. And there you go, all done. Now, if you do want to add some shading to it, you can go back around and add some more color, define it more. I'm just trying to do this really quickly so we don't spend a lot of time on these cards. Okay, let me get these out of my way so I can move on to the next one. All right. The next one, I forgot to bring sponges over, but that's all right. I think. Can't believe I forgot them. So before I lay this down, I'm going to put this down on the bottom. Because I want to make sure that I have that crushed curry sponged around the top. And I'll have to grab that real quick. Excuse me. I forgot an ink pad. The sponge showed up mysteriously, but I forgot the ink pad. Okay, here we go. No worries. And so I just sponged around the edge, just ever so lightly, just trying to give us a sunsetty feel. And so I made a little boo-boo there, so I guess I'll just add a little more sponging along the top in areas to kind of make that be okay. And then I took and sponged around the moon. Now, on this last card, I used what you have in front of you. I used Rich Razzleberry. I didn't pull the Rich Razzleberry. I'm not going to run and get it. This will look good enough. But you can use Rich Razzleberry if you want to give it a darker look. I'm going to go ahead and just adhere that moon. And then we'll put our sentiment on it, which I don't see. Plant. Okay, here it is. Which one do I need last? Okay, I can take this one. Okay. Plant kindness, harvest love. I love that. That is just so pretty. What a nice sentiment. Okay, and we're gonna, actually that was stamped in Blackberry Bliss. I went for my black pad and then I looked at the card And that's actually in Blackberry Bliss. So that's what we're going to use. Okay, get this straight the way I want it. So I can get the sentiment on here pretty straight. Okay, beautiful. We're gonna put the fence on. Now for this, I will use my Tombow glue if it works. Sometimes it just doesn't want to work for me. And guess what? It's working. And this way I can just put my fence down. Guys, I can see so many different things done with this card with what you might have at home. You could put so many pretty flowers along this fence. You could add grass and leaves along this fence. I did snip off this end and I totally spaced it, but that's okay. I can cover that end up as well. There's a lot of different things you can do on this. And like I said, for the sake of time, I stamped my images. I'm not doing anything with these. Now, if I stamped them and they were wet, I could take my blender pen and go over them. And they would blend. The whole color would just blend and it would be a nice soft look. But because these are dry, I don't believe it'll re-moisten the ink at all. So I'm not even gonna worry about it. And then I just made 2 little bows to go over the corn husks, dried up. I believe that's what they're called. I don't know. Okay. And there's one, and I'll do the other one after, so I can just move on. Okay. Last card, we have this one. Another fairly simple card. First thing we're going to do is adhere our plaid paper down. Okay, we're going to add that on here. And we're just going to trim off if it needs a trim. We're going to take our twine and we're going to wrap it. And you want to make that top layer just a little bit bigger, because you want to be able to have it long enough to tie. Okay. And then you're just going to take these 2 loose ends, make sure everything gets tightened the way you want it to be tightened, because you can always move that in a minute. So right now we need to get this bow tied. And I'm all about the bow, guys, when I make cards. You probably have noticed that. I make bows on everything. Big bows, little bows. You don't have to. If you're not a bow maker, turn it into a knot. A knot is perfectly fine. And my bow did not turn out very well. Go figure. Because I'm doing it on a video. Okay, I'm gonna try it one more time. Okay. All right, here we go. I moved my twine over a little bit, so hopefully that'll help. And twine is kind of hard to hang on to. I will grant you that, because it's thin. So let me get that down in there. Let me wrap it around. I'm always trying to make my bows just as tight as I can and look as nice as they can. Okay, so I'm gonna actually pull these out. And a little trick like I showed you before, if it's not tight enough for you, just take your adhesive and pick your ribbon up and pinch it in the middle. Ribbon, twine, whatever. And then just keep working it, working all of it until it's tight where you want it. Okay. Then you're going to take this piece and adhere it I snapped it off again. Don't snap it off. Okay. We're going to adhere this down. Okay. And then we're going to take, and I've already did this, so we're going to take and color this in with your colored pencils or whatever you're doing. Color it in. Stamp your sentiment, place your sentiment where you want it, and then tuck this up underneath the twine. And that's going to finish off our last card. I sure hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it gave you lots of tips and tricks on how to do your cards. I cannot wait to make the next video for you guys. I absolutely love the next class that we have going. It is going to be using the Snowman Builder Punch and the Snowman Stamp Set. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.